Good morning, students. In the last class, we have completed autotrophic nutrition. Let us discuss about heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition, which is generally carried out by animals and fungi. Animals and fungi. Right. Every organism, it is getting adapted to its surroundings or the environment. The type of the form of the nutrition, it depends based on the type and availability of the food and based on the way in which the food is obtained by the organism. So, two parameters are there. One is the type and availability of food. The type and availability of food. Next, the way in which it is obtained. The way in which food is obtained. These two things decide the form of nutrition. The form of nutrition. The form of nutrition is decided by these two things. What are the two things? The type and availability of food material and the way in which the food is obtained. For some organisms, food may be completely stationary. Means, as the animal approaches the food source does not move from that place. It will remain stationary. For example, if a deer approaches grass, can the grass run away from that place? No, it remains in the same place. So, the food is stationary. And if a tiger is approaching a deer, will the deer remain stationary or run away? It will run away. So, for some organisms, the food is stationary, and for some other organisms, the food will be mobile. And because of these differences in the food sources, the access of the food and the way, the structural apparatus for the nutritional process are different. The structural apparatus for nutrition are different in different organisms. See, if you take a cow does not have canines. These are the special teeth that are used for tearing. It will have incisors more, which are called cutting teeth, to cut the grass and crush, and it will have more of molars and premolars. So, because its food is stationary, it doesn't require to change it and to kill it. Okay. So it has more of incisors and premolars and molars, but it does not have canines. Whereas if you take a lion or a tiger, it has what? Canines. Very powerful canines are present. Why? To tear the meat, to kill it and to tear the meat. to kill the deer-like animals and to tear its meats, right? Such that totally different organisms are going to use different types of nutritional ways. So among the heterotrophs, we can totally divide the nutritional ways into two types. What are they? Heterotrophs are, what is heterotrophic nutrition or what is heterotroph? The organism which cannot synthesize the food on its own and it depends on autotrophs either directly or indirectly for its nutritional purposes is known as heterotroph. The organism which does not synthesize the food on its own, instead depends on autotrophs either directly or indirectly, for nutritional purposes. Whereas what is autotroph? So examples for heterotrophs are animals, fungi, etc. Okay. And what is autotroph? Autotroph, an organism that can synthesize the food on its own is known as, example, plants, green plants, especially green plants, and what else? The photosynthetic bacteria. Photosynthetic bacteria, right? So heterotrophs, they directly or indirectly dependent on the plants and photosynthetic bacteria for their nutritional purposes. Now coming to heterotroph. How many types of heterotrophs are there? Or how many types of heterotrophic nutrition is there? Heterotrophic nutrition or heterotrophs are of two types. Two types of heterotrophs. What are they? This is very, very important. In the textbook it is a bit complex type. Saprotrophs and holozoic. Saprotrophic heterotrophs, and holozoic heterotrophs, right? Saprotrophic heterotrophs, what do they do? These organisms they break down the food material outside their body and absorb it. Simply to speak, a saprotroph, it digests the food outside its body, means it releases the digestive juices on the food. Then the food gets digested outside its body. Then the digested food material is absorbed by this organism. Generally, these organisms, they depend on dead and decaying matter. They depend on dead and decaying matter. See, means these do not derive the nutrition from the living one. From what they derive their nutrition? They derive their nutrition from dead and decaying one. What do? They digest, they release the digestive juices. They release the digestive juices on the food. The food gets digested. Food gets digested outside their body, outside of their body, and then they absorb the food, and then the food is absorbed, the digested food is absorbed. Example, fungi. Right? So this is about saprotrophic heterotrophs. Coming to holozoic heterotrophs. Holozoic heterotrophs, they do not derive the food from the dead and decaying matter. Dead means the organism that died on its own. That was, on its own, if something died, that is called dead, according to this context. Means it is thrown away already. Dead and decaying matter means it is not going to be utilized by holozoic heterotrophs. The food generally which is utilized by the saprotrophs, it will not get utilized by the holozoic heterotrophs generally. The food which is not touched, which is not going to be utilized by the holozoic heterotrophs, generally such food, that such dead and decaying matter will be utilized by the saprotrophic heterotrophs. Holozoic heterotrophs, they are of two types. Free living and parasitic. Free living holozoic heterotrophs, they kill the organism from which they derive their nutrition, which is mostly applicable for carnivorous animals. Lion, if it wants to eat the flesh, it is not going to take one leg of a deer. It will kill the deer. If you want to eat chicken, even if it is one piece, you will kill that hen and eat that chicken. That is holozoic. And when the lion wants to eat the flesh of a deer, if the lion is going to get stick to the body of the deer, and is it going to take the shelter from the body of the deer? When you want to eat the chicken, are you going to take the shelter on the body of the hen? No, you will kill it. You are not going to take the shelter from the other organ. You are free living, right? Most of the free living organisms which do not take the shelter from the other organisms, they come under this category. Of course, among these holozoic organisms, some herbivorous free living organisms, when we are also herbivorous at certain times while eating veggies and while eating fruits, we do not kill that plant. We will take only the plant. So for herbivorous, this particular killing the organism, this point is exceptional. But for carnivorous, 100% it is only correct. Example, lion, tiger, humans, etc. These are all what? Free living, what? Heterotrophs. Coming to parasitic heterotrophs. Parasitic heterotrophs. What do they do? Parasite. What is parasite? A heterotroph that depends on the other organism not only for its nutritional demand but also for its shelter purpose is known as a parasite. Parasite. An organism that not only derives nutrition but also takes shelter from other organism. Many bacteria, ticks, mites, leech, etc. There is a lot of classification under parasites: ectoparasites, endoparasites. Ecto means outside, endo means inside. Okay, ectoparasites is ticks and mites. Endoparasites, tapeworm, roundworm, hookworm, all these are endoparasites. Endo means inside, they live inside the body of the organism. Ecto means outside, they live outside, the ticks, mites, leech. Again, temporary parasites and permanent parasites. Temporary parasites, leech, only while it is taking its food, it gets attached to the body of the other organism. After taking its food, it just comes out of the other organism. Permanent, ticks and mites, while taking the food, while not taking the food, they remain on the body of the host organism. So, what is host? The organism on which a parasite takes its shelter and food both. It is called host. So host-parasite relationships are different in different organisms. Right? Okay. This is about parasite. So a parasite is an organism. In parasitic heterotrophic nutrition, what it is going to be learnt, a parasite is an organism which generally does not kill the other organism while it is deriving the nutrition from the other organism. Whereas a free living holozoic organism, what it is doing? It was killing the other organism for deriving its nutrition. Whereas a parasitic organism, parasitic holozoic heterotroph, it generally does not kill the other organism. Instead, it takes shelter on the other organism and slowly, gradually, it derives the nutrition by allowing the host organism to be alive. So only it will be keep getting the food continuously. So this is about. So these are all animal parasites. Whatever just I have read. Ticks, mites, leech, tapeworm, roundworm. In the ticks, leech, mice, all these things, ticks, mites, leech, all these things are ectoparasites, and endoparasite, tapeworm, roundworm. And there are some plant parasites also. Plants means plants that depend on other plants, not on other animals. Plant parasites, parasitic plants. Parasitic plants. Plants that depend on other plants to derive the nutrition are called parasitic plants. Okay. So, Cuscuta, which is also known as amarbel. Amarbel. So, this is a parasitic plant, and especially it derives the nutrition from stems of the other plant. So, it is a stem parasite. Among parasitic plants, there are stem parasites, root parasites, partial stem parasites, complete stem parasites, partial root parasites, okay, complete root parasites, okay. And the structure using which it derives the nutrition is known as haustoria. Haustoria are the special root-like structures using which these plants they derive the nutrition from the other plants. So Cuscuta or amarbel, which parasite it is? Stem parasite. So remember this point. Okay. Next coming to now let us discuss about the holozoic, free living heterotrophs. There are different types of animals, heterotrophs. Some are unicellular, some are multicellular. Let us discuss about the nutrition in unicellular organisms. Okay, and I already told that the food and the way in which that the food is obtained, they differ among different organisms. And in order to take the different types of foods, and there are different types of digestive systems. If you take the unicellular organisms, the entire surface of the organism is in direct contact with the environment. So the food will be taken in by the entire surface of the unicellular organisms. Whereas in the case of multicellular organisms, the entire surface of the organism is not in complete contact with the environment. So due to the increase in the complexity of the structure of the organisms in multicellular organisms, some specialized parts are present to carry out this nutritional process. If you take the unicellular organisms, there are many examples: amoeba, paramecium, etc. The amoeba takes in the food using specialized structures called false feet or pseudopodia. So in unicellular organisms, the entire surface is in direct contact with the environment. So the food may be taken in using the entire surface. In amoeba, which is unicellular organism, the surface of the organism forms false feet. Scientifically they are called pseudopodia. Pseudo means false, podia means feet. These are formed by the surface of the amoeba, and these pseudopodia, they just engulf the food particle which the amoeba wants to take in, and slowly the pseudopodia will join with each other, and as they join with each other, a food vacuole is formed inside. A food vacuole is formed inside. Right? And into this food vacuole, the digestive juices are released. Into this food vacuole, the digestive juices are released and the food particle gets digested. Right? The undigested material will be moved out of the surface. Okay. When this food vacuole comes near to the surface again, the undigested food, see, the digestion is over and the digested material is absorbed. The undigested material will be thrown out at the food vacuole. It just comes and touches the surface. It will open up. It will open up and the undigested material will be thrown out. This is how the digestion takes place. If you take the paramecium, it is also a unicellular organism. Unlike amoeba, which is not having a fixed shape, because of which it is able to form the pseudopodia at any part of its surface. In paramecium, the cell has a definite shape and food is not taken using any type of pseudopodia in paramecium. Instead, the food is taken at a specific spot, and then from this spot the food is moved by the movement of cilia. Okay, right? To take the paramecium. Paramecium is also called slipper animalcule because of its specific shape. Paramecium is also called slipper animalcule because of its specific shape like slipper. At a specific spot, the food will be taken in. The paramecium is having many small cilia covering its surface, and these cilia will be keep moving, and due to the ciliary movement, the food will be directed towards this spot, so that the food will be taken in. Right? So paramecium is having a definite shape. So food is taken at a specific spot, taken in at a specific spot, and food is directed to this specific spot, with the help of what? By ciliary movement. Right. So paramecium is called what? Slipper animalcule. Right. This is about paramecium. So nutrition in human beings, let us discuss in the next class. Thank you.